I am going to go ahead and get started. I want to, as I always do, publicly thank Miss Roseanne, because if it were not for her, we would not have any of this stuff set up or be able to do it. So thank you so much, Miss Rosie. Um, I want to welcome everybody. Hope everybody is doing well. School is back in now. We hadn't gone through a whole week, but if you have little ones in school or you are dealing with folks in school, I hope everything is going along well. And I hope you are staying cool in this heat. This heat is something, but it's nice to see you all back. So this meeting is for property on 100 Pinhook Road and Murfreesboro Pike. This is not a zone change, but they are asking permission to make a change in something that they originally were doing, that they need our permission to do that. So they were originally approved for whatever zoning and everything is up there. So I will turn it over to them. This is the Pinhook Partners, I believe it's called. Your company is called.
That's correct.
Great. I'm gonna let them go ahead and take a little time to explain what's going on, so that you all will know and to introduce themselves. So thank you again. I'm glad those that were able to be on are here, and I see some familiar faces, some familiar names, because I can't see any faces. So thank you again for coming, and I'm going to turn it over to the partners now.
Perfect. Thank you, Councilperson Lee. We appreciate you organizing the meeting, and Ms. Age for getting our technology working. Greatly appreciated, as well as the members of the neighborhood that are taking your time to hear about our plan. We appreciate your time tonight as well. We'll get started and show you where we are and tell you a little bit about our project, and then open it up for questions if that's okay with everybody. Okay. This is our location. We're on the corner of Murfreesboro Pike and Pinhook Road, so you know where we're the site we're discussing tonight. We're right where the pin is, so we're going to be opposite of the new auto zone and adjacent to the large Publix shopping center on Murfreesboro Road. A little bit about us. Our mission is to create the most modern, eco-friendly car wash experience in Nashville. Our facility is designed to look like a high-end retail building, so as we get into the pictures in a minute, you'll probably notice it doesn't look like any car wash you've ever seen. The site was designed to tuck the vacuuming behind the building, so that's sort of the business end of the operation, and so we designed it so we're showing all the attractive things on the road, trying to be consistent with the UDO. As Councilwoman Lee said, we are not asking for a zoning change. We're currently zoned CS, which allows a variety of commercial uses, from restaurant to automotive to self-storage, etc. The ownership, and I have all my partners here tonight. My name is Paul Budslick, and I have Katie and Adam Wayne. They're waving in here with us as well. I'll get into some of our photos and site plan. What we're asking for tonight and here to discuss is we did our due diligence on the property on the front end and closing the property end of last year, but we have been classified as a drive-through. The UDO, which governs Murfreesboro Road, this section of it, does prohibit drive-throughs on corners. When we spoke with the UDO about that, that was an issue that's brought to our attention after we closed. When we asked them about why that is, they said, well, perhaps it could cause traffic confusion with the drive-through on the corner. So we tried to address that with some landscape screening, as well as a knee wall to further delineate the road from our project. This is a site plan rendering that we've done. If you're looking at our facility from Murfreesboro Road, this is the corner shot. So there's the knee wall we just discussed. We would have the I think that's a 10-foot wide sidewalk, 8 or 10, you know, Adam?
8 foot wide sidewalk.
8 foot, as well as the required landscape buffer there. It's a picture of our landscaping plan. And then here's probably the most clear site plan, so you can see how the site flows. Our proposed entrance is off of Pinhook Road. We've had some early discussions with TDOT about that, as well as Public Works, and I think with their preferences that we access from Pinhook and sort of line that entrance and exit up with the public shopping center. As there's a little side street there that runs the whole center. To line that up, that would allow the traffic to slow down off Merciful Road. There's a turning lane that was actually dedicated, as well as a crosswalk from this property. You see how the end of the triangle is missing here. That was given when the Publix was developed from the prior owner. And so that allowed traffic to slow down. There's a right-hand turn lane, and then safely enter our project, but it wouldn't bring any additional traffic down to the residential side of Pinhook, being that we're commercial and the property next to us is commercial as well. So we're actually wrapped on all sides by another property that's zoned commercial services as well. Here's another site plan picture, a little higher elevation. We're addressing the traffic concerns. We spoke to some neighbors prior to this meeting, and some people wanted to know a little bit more about the traffic, what our site might do a day and what type of traffic it would bring on the street. We project an average of around 223 cars a day in our projections. And it is a volatile business, with weather being the main factor that will drive business from day to day, hour to hour. So our best plan to provide good traffic flow is to provide a facility that's laid out well from the start. So our facility has 3 pay stations. It's designed to be able to process 150 cars an hour. So we think that will more than handle peak times, peak hours, to keep traffic flowing and make a smooth entrance and exit off of Pinhook. And our proposed site has plenty of stacking. We typically see the car washes that have traffic problems are those that are not designed properly. There's a few that come to mind. There's one on 8th Avenue in the Melrose area that was a conversion that only has 1 pay station. It's a busy site and 1 lane of traffic and too short of a tunnel. And while there's other car washes that are washing a lot more cars than them, that don't appear to be that busy, don't have the traffic problem, this one struggles just because it's not designed correctly. And so our goal is to be designed correctly, move traffic at all times, so even during peak hours. Some folks ask, some of the neighbors ask, what's the environmental impact of a car wash? And so car washes are the eco-friendly choice. We've noticed in some drought-prone counties and states such as California and Arizona and Washington, they banned driveway washing while leaving and promoting the automatic car washes. And that's because we use far less water than a typical driveway washer. We're going to use between 10 to 20 gallons a car. And that's because of our reclaimed water system that we're going to install, as well as we favor pressure nozzles over large flow, and we use a lot of friction to do the cleaning. The other big environmental impact that we're saving from driveway washing, here's a picture of our reclaim design, just how we're going to use the water in vehicles. It'll go into a tank, be filtered out, reused, and then any overflow will go into a sanitary system, never discharging into the environment, into the creeks, etc. So that's the next big thing, is we're not sending pollutants ever into the waterways, storm systems. 100% will be collected on site. We'll reuse a large portion of it, and any discharge would be treated in our settling tanks before then being further treated by our Metro sewer facility. So the water that we were going to discharge would be far cleaner than the average sewer water going to Metro. Also getting to our chemistry, taking a step further, car washing chemistry and technology has come a long way. And since we're going to be reclaiming water, we're going to use chemicals that are reclaim compatible. They don't use the harsh cleaners, the hydrofluoric acids of the past. So keep it safe for our teams, keep it safe for our water as well. Some other green initiatives, we'll be using all VFD motors controls. So what that does is it's going to allow us to ramp each piece of equipment up slowly. That prevents the initial surge and spike of power that's used to start any electric motor, greatly reducing our electricity needs. We'll be using all LED water. All LED lighting. We have a rain garden that will serve as a focal point of the site in the middle of the site, but also will help manage our storm collection as well as treatment of stormwater. And then we're also going to be looking into the use of solar panels on top of the roof to generate some of our own power. As far as our stormwater system, it will be designed by our engineer, Mike Montoya. We hired Mike because he has especially in car wash design, he's out of Baton Rouge, but since he does a lot of work in Baton Rouge, his strength is stormwater control, since they're designing systems in that area that are typically about 2x of our annual rainfall. We will be discharging water that's equal to or less than what's currently coming off the site. We'd like to get involved in the community. We want this to be a family business. And some of the ideas we've seen other sites succeed with is, do fundraisers where organizations, schools, football teams, et cetera, can raise money for their organization by selling wash books that we give to them, and then raising money for their organization. With that, we'll open it up to questions.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Now remember, this was not a rezoning. It was the issue because where it is, you're not supposed to have a drive-through. And so I'm thinking that they were talking about restaurants, but because that's okay, dear. Everybody was a little late, so you're good, Tanya. So I don't think they thought about a car wash, but because you go pass through the water, the car wash is also considered a drive-through. So that's what the issue is. And so I'm going to say, if you have questions, go ahead and start and ask. I don't know if they can see when you put up your hand. So if you just want to go ahead and start the question, I would say, please just be careful if someone else is talking. Don't talk over them, and you can go ahead and do your question and not one person monopolize the conversation. So any questions? What are the proposed hours? And I hope you all monitor the chat too. So I think it was Larry or Billy had said, like, what are the hours of operation?
Yes, good question. So our site will be staffed at all times. We would anticipate hours of around 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. It will not be 24/7. It'll never be unmanned. So I think that's an important point. We will always have some staff there to ensure the site's safe, clean, orderly, to prevent some of the problems that you see occurring in 24-hour car washes, self-serve facilities. So that is not our operation. I think that's a good point to clarify.
Are the hours going to be different depending on what season it is?
It is customary to close slightly earlier in the winter, just with the shorter days. So it's likely we might lose an hour in the winter as it gets cold and dark early. We wouldn't see extending hours beyond 8 though. I'm sorry, 7.
Did you see that question about detailing in the chat?
Did not.
What additional detailing services will be offered?
At this time, the plan is to have a express car wash concept. So we will have the tools and vacuums, air guns, mat cleaners, and so forth available for our guests to use for the price of the wash. There will be no additional charge for that, and we'll have somebody there maintaining those services at all times. But it would not be offering our employees doing the detailing. We would be guiding the customers on the car wash tunnel, helping them with the pay stations, making sure the site is clean and orderly, and helping them use the tools and showing them where they are and so forth, replenishing them, but not doing the detailing themselves.
That's a really good comment that Tanya had. So if someone wants to look at that and answer about the water and the flooding.
She said, today with the rain, Murfreesboro Road was starting to flood, especially in front of the Publix complex. More building is going to cause more runoff and flooding. There are already 8 car washes in Antioch. Again, I was late, so not sure what has been said already.
So with the stormwater, I don't know if that came from Tanya. I don't know, Tanya, if you were on the call when we were talking about the stormwater. The stormwater is not designed yet. We were at the point where we have a site plan and something here to show you today that's material. But we've hired Mike Montoya out of Louisiana to be our civil engineer, and he does have a special. His specialty is stormwater in Louisiana, since they struggle with that so much. And so, while it's not designed yet, he anticipates that with the site that he's designed, there's plenty of area for both above and below ground stormwater retention and detention and stormwater quality. So what we're showing on our site plan is an above water storm rain garden here in the center, but that would be in addition to several pipes and underground systems that would tie in together before discharging the water to where it's naturally flowing right now. And so what he's told us, again, it's not designed yet, but the water coming off this site would be less than or equal to what's coming off now, with same or better quality.
So it may be better
So
managed.
I mean, it could be better than it is now, but we're not anticipating any additional water to come off the site, and fully plan on complying with all of Metro stormwater regulations.
Have you thought about using a grid instead of just concrete, which will help with water runoff? Concrete is going to cause runoff. I think yeah.
So are you, by grid, there was another question that says, have you thought about using a grid instead of concrete? So we've looked at using pavers in some sections of lower traffic, and all that will get into, I'm certainly not a stormwater engineer, but we do have a lot of faith in Mike, our engineer that we've hired. And so what he's going to do once the site progresses and we get into that stage is look at our storm calcs and look at the best ways to hold, retain, and as well as make sure the quality's there, the stormwater releasing. And his preferred method, he's told us, is with underground piping to hold it and then release it slower into the rain garden before then releasing it to where it's naturally flowing. So, but he's going to look at all those options as far as pavers, pervious concrete, above ground, below ground. That's still all on the table. It's not designed yet.
What is your lowest current projected cost for a basic car wash?
Our lowest projected current cost for a basic car wash is, which had that question come up, would be $10. And that would come with all of our free services. So the free vacuums, the use of the air guns, the mat cleaners, the glass cleaner, and towels. That would all be included in that price. So our business plan is to you buy your ticket in, and then you can have free range of all of our services there. We're not trying to be the absolute cheapest car wash in town. We want it to be more of a luxury experience where we're able to offer all those amenities free of charge.
What about the traffic flow on Pinhook and improvements on Pinhook near the car wash? Road improvements on Pinhook near the car wash.
So we have a question about the traffic on Pinhook, and we've done some research about the traffic on Pinhook. The Murfreesboro Road is a collector. Is that correct? Arterial. Sorry.
Arterial.
Thank you. Arterial. I can't say that. And Pinhook's a collector. So when we spoke with traffic, they said this is an ideal location for an automotive type business. here's a picture of the road where approximately our curb cut would be. We more or less line it up with the Publix. So we have a turning lane here, as well as a light at Pinhook. So you have a left-hand turn lane, straight, right. As we progress on the Murfreesboro Road, they already have this turn lane that was dedicated from this property. It was given in the past when the developers of the Public Center owned it. So we feel like the majority of the infrastructure is already there to more than accommodate the traffic we'll be bringing on. We also see our service as more of a impulsive service. So we don't really see it as a destination. We don't think we're going to be bringing on tons of new traffic to the corridor, more grabbing folks that are already driving down Murfreesboro Road, or perhaps leaving the Public shopping center after getting their groceries. That's one of the reasons why we picked this site, because we think it's a great addition to a grocery shopping trip.
Do you have a best estimate of when this car wash will be operational?
We think that, construction, we have a question, when do we think it'll be operational? Construction lead times are getting more and more challenging, we're hearing. We would hope that if we go through maybe a 5-month permitting process and approximately a 9-month construction timeline would be our ideal timeline.
We have, I think Tanya was saying, I am talking about environmental grid. Pavers are not usually water absorbing. The grids can be filled in with gravel or even ground grass in them and be driven on. I use some of them at my garden center. The grid with gravel or with grass allows water to be absorbed into the ground and not run off to cause flooding. We're certainly looking at that.
So we've got a comment about the grid. So I guess we misunderstood. It was not about pavers, it was about the grid. I'm not familiar with that grid system, but something certainly that we could look into. We are not designed on our stormwater calcs yet, and so all these options are things that we're looking into and open to discussing. I think it all depends on what we see we can store in our rain garden, underground piping, and then see we can direct it all into that area, and then if not, then look at other solutions as well there.
So now that you understand what she's talking about, that might be a good thing to take in your notes, write in your notes, so that you can check on that specifically.
Okay.
I just want to make sure it wouldn't make cars dirty,
Right. Certainly. I think, if I'm not that familiar with it. I'm reading the comment on it. It sounds like a similar concept as, I think the pavers also have gravel underneath them with cracks. So it sounds like a similar system where you're allowing the water to flow under and are able to catch that and let the ground absorb it. True grid. Okay. We'll certainly take a note of that. We appreciate that.
No, the true grid is totally different than pavers. Okay.
Now I'm going to go back to asking about the road. I'm thinking that I know there are some other car washes in the area, especially down on Bell Road, Bell and Cane Ridge. I know there's a drive-through one there. So the look of this is going to be much better than that, because that does not have any ecological stuff out in it or anything. It's just all concrete parking and that kind of thing. So this sounds like it's a whole lot better. But going back to the pictures that you were showing, and somebody was asking about the road improvements. So when I heard that, I was thinking that she meant like a turning lane to make it easier to turn into. And you were talking about the one off of Murfreesboro that goes into that's already there. And I'm trying to remember, because I think that still ends up like a 2-lane road. I don't know how far that goes, if it's something you can make a turning lane into so people can get off and turn into the car wash instead of blocking up when they get actually on Pinhook. So if you will talk and show that, yeah, see, that's just, okay, so there's a turning lane for the Kroger, but you're going to be across the road from the Kroger, correct?
From the public shopping center. That's correct.
I mean, I'm sorry. Oh, goodness. Publix would get me. I'm sorry. Yeah. So you're going to be across the street from that.
I think that turn, yeah, that's correct. That is correct. That turning lane, I think, is for the benefit of this light coming up here. Sorry, I'm jumping around quickly. It's kind of jittery on my screen. Our plan is to have plenty of stacking right here. I'm going to jump back to our site plan that would allow the folks to make a smooth transition into our site. We do have some traffic data as well here. So right now, Pinhook is seeing around 6,000 cars a day. And so when we spoke with our engineer and TDEC and so forth, they felt like this intersection is engineered to handle this site and even perhaps a site of higher intensity, which we are not. But as long as, I think our main thing is to make sure that we're keeping our traffic moving, so it's not backflowing into Pinhook, which we should be able to more than
correct. Yeah, because I think that intersection, that Pinhook and Murfreesboro Road intersection, is pretty good. But I was thinking, because your entrance is going to be down a little bit from Murfreesboro Road.
That is correct. So we're about 300 foot down. So
what I was thinking about was, because you all have to do sidewalks anyway.
That's correct.
Around there. So I was just thinking that when you that there is a little ease, I don't even know what you call it, but a little ease over, so that you're not going from Pinhook and then just taking a turn into it.
I see. So almost a turn lane or widening curb cut into the site.
Right. So if people are trying to go there, they don't have to slow up here waiting for that person to turn in.
That's absolutely. I mean, I love that idea. I would be happy to bring that up with TDEC and see if that's something they would allow for. I think it's a good idea.
We have another question, not to be rude, but what made you choose this location?
We have another question, says, what made us choose this location? We see this area is ready. There's more and more households coming in this area. It's no secret, as I'm sure you guys speak of all the time in your meetings. And we saw a void in the market. There are car washes in the area, but they are, there's one about 5 miles towards the airport. There's one about 3.5 miles towards Laverne. So we saw a void in this market where if you're in this community, you'd be driving, with traffic, maybe 15 minutes or so to go get a car wash. And so our studies show that car washes do well in high traffic areas and close to shopping centers where people are doing weekly shopping, such as grocery stores and Walmarts and so forth. And so we think it'd be a nice service for the community and hopefully good business for us as well.
Anybody else? Any comments or questions? Well, I don't know if you want to do a final summation about everything. It sounded like there weren't many questions, but there's some things that you all are going to look at and check on to see if you can do it.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I don't know if you want to say something, and then after you all finish, I know my Beautification Commissioner is on. I'm going to let him talk. So I'll let you kind of um, end up curve or whatever you need to do to your part and see if there are any questions, and then we'll go to another little announcement.
Yeah, thank you for the time tonight. So we are asking for the interpretation of a drive-through on the corner to exclude this use or this parcel or whatever the legal route is there. We've tried to meet every letter of the code and the UDO, and I think we're just getting perhaps lumped into a technicality there. But hopefully, folks on this call agree it's an attractive building, and while it functions as a car wash, it could be a restaurant or a high-end retail center based on the looks of it. We've tried to exceed the standards in every other regard, though, and so we'd like to ask your support on that interpretation. We've heard some good comments about the traffic, inquiring about the turning lane, as well as using the grid system. So those are both things we will go look into with our engineer.
Now, I will say this, your pictures look very nice. Sometimes there are developments, and because it's not the actual thing, they make the pictures look very nice, and then the pictures don't look that way. Your pictures seem like it's very friendly to folks walking by, a lot of greenery where they can kind of go out there and sit and do things. So talk about that area a little more. And I'm sorry, I should have said this, I guess, before we were ending up, but talk about that just a little more, because I do know I have some constituents that have lived through that, where the pictures look one way and then what's there is something totally different. I know on your schematic you had the buffer, so I know those trees have to be there because that's a part of that. So just talk about that a little.
That's correct. So we have met the letter of the UDO, which calls for which is a zoning overlay, urban zoning overlay, and that involves activating the street. So we can pull that up, and so here's a part of the UDO, the urban design overlay, and that's really guiding what the street looks like. Is really its main purpose to govern the aesthetics of the street. And so we tried to look into the UDO and the type of construction that they're calling for, and as mentioned, meeting or exceeding that in all cases. We found that by bringing it up to the street, it met the setback. I'm sorry, the overlay calls for 0 to 80-foot setbacks, so they want to activate the pedestrian aspect of it in the street, and so that was, we went through 15 different renderings, spent a lot of time and engineering dollars just trying to get the flow right, and we think this is by far the best one for the community as well as our business. It flows efficiently, but we also think it looks really nice. That was a main goal. Car washes can be somewhat of a commodity. We want ours to be the most modern and attractive one out there. So it's not by accident that our pictures look so good. We want it to look that good in reality. We plan on landscaping it with the appropriate buffers and using both native plants as well as some ornamentals there to just to jazz it up some color. But we don't plan on making a whole lot of aesthetic modifications. And we are meeting the buffers now, and we'd have to come ask for a variance for landscaping, which we don't plan on doing. That we plan on keeping these landscaping buffers the way they are. And we think that compared to some other developments, we've got a lot of greenery. So look at some of the other developments that have occurred. Some of it looks nice, but they've kind of skimped on the greenery. I guess this doesn't have the most modern. We feel like we're implementing more greenery than what we've seen on some of the latest developments. So trying to keep it really green and friendly and environmentally friendly as well.
Okay, then I will say Pinhook Partners. Is that correct?
That's correct.
I want to make sure I have it right. Thank you so very much for bringing this to us and sharing that with us.
Thank you for your
Taking
time.
your time out to show that. May I ask that while I'm doing the rest of the meeting, that in the chat room, you write down, you put your email address so that in case Ms. Tanya or anybody else wants to send you any specific information that they would like you to look at right there, that they can do that. And even though because I do want Deontay to have something to say, there was a request that you go back to slide 7 right quickly. So we're going to see if we have a comment on that.
Okay, we're on slide 7 now.
Yeah, no comment. I just wanted to see what the slide looked like.
Sure. We've
Good.
spoken with our landscape engineer and also asked they incorporate some more native plants in our rain garden area, especially if she wanted to keep more of the ornamentals on the perimeter because they're going to be more full year round to provide that screening. That was the purpose for that, but then we're going to go more native on the interior of the site.
Great. Well, thank you all so very, very much.
Thank you.
I see people putting their email in. Did they want our email?
We have some folks putting their emails on. Did you want us
Maybe they misunderstood. I was asking you all to put your emails on there so that if they had specific questions or information that they wanted to tell you to look into, that they would be able to contact you to do that.
Perfect. We have just sent that in, I believe.
Great.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you all so very much for your time.
Thank you, Councilwoman Lee. We appreciate it.
Sure. So now I would like to change the meeting just a little bit. Your Beautification Commissioner is Mr. Deontay Harrell, and he has been doing a lot of work since he has been commissioner. A lot of the cleanups he has done, you've seen him in different things, trying to organize cleanups and everything. And he has been working hard for us, and I appreciate him so much. But he's got a really great announcement and then asking some stuff from you all. So I'm going to turn it over to him now. My great Beautification Commissioner, it's your show.
Hey, good evening, everyone. So in the past, Metro, they gave us a budget for beautification projects. That budget was $1,500 per district. And for a few years, it went away. Well, we had a meeting last night, and it's been approved by NDOT that they are now giving us $3,000 per district for beautification projects. So Council Lady Lee and we were discussing how should we allocate the funds. So there is some stipulations on the funds, but my thought was versus having one project, have a few of the neighborhood organizations or communities come up with a proposal of what they would like to see in their community or their area, and then I will present that to NDOT to see if we can allocate that to those different areas. And so what we need from you all is some ideas, which Council Lady Lee, she will share the stipulations, and we have to come up with a proposal, and I'll present that proposal to NDOT, and based on their approval, we'll move forward with those projects.
So we can post it on District 33, and Deontay, you can post that on there too. And I forgot how I looked at it. You sent it to me in the email. And so I'm going to print off the email and scan that and put that on my Facebook page as well. And it may be that we can even get Commissioner, if you want to write up something to tell what's going on with it and send it to Rosie and me, then we may be able to send that out to everybody in the real quickly and on a database too. The people not on this meeting will know.
I can do
And
that.
okay, and so I'm going to ask you too, if you would put your email address in the chat, so those that don't have it will have it. But then when we send that out to our database, I'll have Ms. Rosie put your email address on that too, so that we can get, and of course my LEAFA D33 on there, so that we can get that information from people, because that's a good thing. Think of some great things. Maybe the front of your development needs flowers or dressing up, sprucing up, or whatever or even if there's some schools. I know way back one time what we did was we went out and planted flowers in some of the schools and things. So I know you all will have a lot of great ideas. So I'm turning it back over to you, Mr. Commissioner.
That's all I had. So the biggest concern that we voiced with as far as the restrictions was the right of way. They want it to be within that area, and also they would not allow us to pay for services such as certain areas that had high litter versus waiting on Metro or waiting on a cleanup. One of the suggestions was, okay, well, how about, since we have vendors picking up litter in certain areas, that we just pay. So, okay, this area is a hot spot, let's pay for that. And that was one of the things they said we could not do. So,
Okay.
so that's, yes. So that's all I have. I guess as we come out with plans, we can discuss further.
Okay. That sounds great. So talk it over, and if you will give me some short letter just saying that about the plans, so that we can send it out to everybody, that'll be the faster that we can do that, and hopefully we'll
Absolutely.
get some good ideas. Comments? Anybody else? Well, you all be careful out there. As we heard from Tanya, there is a lot of flooding going on in areas. So we want to be careful with that. Our weather is something. We go from flooding, rain to 100 degrees. So you all be careful out there. Now the buses have started to go again, and you have students all on the side and all that type of thing. So thank you so much for coming. I saw something. Yes, everybody is more safe, more headed our way. Oh, I hate that. I have not written out there in the Mount View Hamilton Church area lately. I was under the impression that we would see something going on with that light. And I'm sorry, somebody asked in the chat about that traffic light. I was under the impression that what I was told from our new transportation or from Public Works, that by now you all would see something going up or some work being done on that. So that's where I am on that. I'll have to ride out there to see if it is, and if not, then check to see what's going on out there. But I want to thank you all. There is 1 week, I believe it's next week, that we have 2 meetings, one on a Wednesday and one on a Thursday. I'm going to apologize already for that. We're not going to start doing that. A lot of times it's just that because we didn't have any meetings and kind of took a rest for July, they kind of piled up, but that is not going to be a norm. I would rather have 1 meeting a week, and we're not going to rush the meetings. They're going to have to wait on us to see how we can get it, because everybody has their own job. We're not just doing development where we can just stack meetings and have meetings. So you all be careful out there. Thank you all for joining the meeting. Any other comments or anything? Well, thank you. You all have a very safe afternoon. Okay, bye-bye. Thank you, Ms. Tanya.